entire teaching, Sankhya Yoga, it starts off the title of Yoga of Knowledge. So Bhagwan says, hey Arjuna, you are suffering, you are deluded. You have this ignorance in you. And the only way to create clear ignorance is knowledge. Just like the only way to remove darkness is through shining a light. So when Arjuna gave all kinds of more arguments that how can he kill Bhishma? How can he kill Drona? They have to be revered. They have to be respected. How can I kill them? Then Bhagwan said, I have to give this person a shock treatment. I have to tell him what the reality is. So with that, Bhagwan starts off right in his first verse of his teaching. This is such a powerful verse. If we can try to remember and practice, it will make our life so wonderful. Tattve natu jasam natvam te me janadipa nachayvana bhavishyamaha. Oh, I'm sorry, I think I misquoted. But that's the one I wanted to say was Ashutyananvashoshaspam prajnavadamscha bhashase gatasun agatamsumscha nani shochanti pandita. So Bhagwan, right in the beginning, he says, you are grieving for people who should not be grieved. And yet you speak like a very learned person. A learned person never grieves for those who are living. Sumscha means who is breathing. Agatam Sumscha means who does not breathe. He does not grieve for those living or for those dead. Because he has the knowledge of who the person really is. It's not this body. Body has to come, body has to go. But he realizes, the wise person realizes that the soul is not dead. It is there forever. So anadi. So it's never short in time and space. So a wise person knows that. You don't know it and you're worrying about Bhishma and Drona. They are not going to be dead. The body is going to be gone, sure. But their soul will remain. And then whatever the soul deserves, it will get. So that is a very, very powerful statement. And then when a person who is sorrowful and worried about all these things, he might say, what is this? And I'm just shock treatment. So Bhagwan takes from verse 12 to verse 30, explaining what he said in that first verse. He says, this soul just changes bodies. That's like we change clothes, old clothes, we discard, wear new clothes. Similarly, the soul says, this body is no good for me anymore. I leave this, take another body. And the beauty of our Shastra is, you never ever are stopped from liberation. You can get liberation at any janma. You don't know how many janmas you have had in the past, how many janmas you might have. But the message is, you can get it here and now if you want, so that you don't have to take the next one. But if you don't succeed because of a lot of the baggage you carry from your previous life and this life itself, you have not made your mind ready enough to receive this knowledge, no problem. Keep trying. Understand my teaching, practice it. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes. And if you don't get it this janma, no problem. You'll be born in a better situation next time and you can get it. So this is the total message of hope, given in chapter 2 and throughout the Gita. So when Bhagwan described the soul, and we went through all that in detail, people wonder about the soul. Even after hearing, they don't understand. Even after, trying to understand, they don't understand because it is very subtle. It is not in front of you like an object to see and understand and feel. It is subtle within you. It is all pervading. It is all around you, within you. What is that? That is the Atma. And what is that Atma? It's that creation. God God's creation. He created the world, He created you. And without His presence, there won't be any life in this planet. So He's there, all pervading as the conscience in you, and as the life in trees, animals, and insentient beings declare about nature for the benefit of the living beings. So this is what it is. Why don't you understand this instead of thinking the body is the one that is the only thing that is there? And he gives many examples. He says, anything that comes has to go. It's got a date of birth and date of death. It has to have, but it decays. And that is the way, if you understand, right? You say, body is born, goes to different stages, and then it starts decaying, it has an old age, and then death. That's natural. Why are you believing about something so natural? So that he goes through till verse 30. And so many examples he gives to make that very clear. Like Vasam Sichirnani is fantastic. Old clothes are gone, we wear new clothes. Similarly, body, soul takes on new. And another beautiful verse in this 1 to 11 to 13 is Matra Sparshas Kunteya Shri Toshna Sukadukkala. What is Matra Sparshas? Whatever object you touch is temporary. Whatever happens to you is temporary. Shita Ushna means heat, cold. They come and go. So, Stam Titikshasva Bharat. Titikshasva is a very, 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 very important word. Means endurance, patience. If you have that endurance and patience, you can bear anything. Everything in this world is temporary. Nothing stays forever. What comes goes. It's all in time and space. The only thing that is not in time and space is the Atma that never dies, never is born. So once you understand the nature of the Atma, that all the others called Anatma, this comes and goes, you should not believe. And you should develop endurance to go through these changes in your life. And that is the only way for a wise, mature person to live. And then from verse 31 to 38 actually, he just gives other very practical reasons to Arjuna. You are such a well-known warrior. If you go away from this fight, what will people think? They will say, hey, Arjuna got afraid of the Duryodhana army and ran away. What kind of thing will people throw stones at you? Will just say all kinds of bad things. Isn't that more hurtful than what you're trying to do? Not fight this one. You think this is suffering? You will see that suffering more. So you are fighting this war for establishing righteousness, establishing the rule of law in this land. And so you have to fight this war because without you taking care of this adharma that's happening all around you, no one else can. I have selected you as my instrument. You can do it. So that's the thing. He says, come on, get up and fight. You can. And even if you die in this war, you will gain heaven because you're fighting a war for righteousness, for the right cause. And if you win, you gain sovereignty over whole of India and you can rule. And you can establish dharma where in this land so much adharma is happening right now. So those practical reasons he gives. Again, it comes back from verse 38 to verse 53 to really describing Karma Yoga, which is the foundation. If you want jnana without Karma Yoga, you cannot even think of jnana. Why Karma Yoga? Because it prepares your mind. It makes it pure. It makes you surrender to the ultimate creator who knows what's going to happen the next minute. You do not know. You do not control it. All you control is your action. And so the karma-niyam-adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalahetu bhu Pati Samgosva Karmani is so important to understand and practice. And Pujya Swamiji has done a fantastic job in this commentary about explaining. It is not, it clearly says you have no right to be inactive. Inaction is not your nature. Your nature will drive you to fight because you are a Kshatriya. Everybody's nature will drive them to do things what their nature is. So you will act. When you act, do your best, surrender it to me. And whatever you deserve, I will give it to you. When you deserve it, the timing I will decide, and what you deserve, I will decide. Because so many factors control the result of your action, not just your action. So many things around the environment you work with, the people you work with, the time you're working in, all these are different. So you don't control all of them. I, the creator, control everything. I know what to give you. I will give it to you. So the whole thing we talked about, Arpana Buddhi, you offer everything as a worship to God. When you offer something as a worship, you do it well. You don't do a half-hearted job on it. When you make prasadam for Bhagwan, you put your whole heart and soul into it. Use the right ingredients to make prasadam and give it to Bhagwan, offer it to Bhagwan. So, if you have this attitude, you will do your work with 100% focus and attention. Because your mind is not distracted even an iota with what will happen, what will I get out of it. Once the distraction comes, your focus is gone. So this attitude will make you very, very efficient in whatever you do, and you have no mental, disturbance, because you accept whatever I give you as the prasadam. When you get a prasadam, laddu prasadam from, somebody, will you say, oh, doesn't have too much sugar. Oh, why did you put, there's too much sugar, my diabetes will shoot up. Hey, this is a prasadam. Somebody's offering you with love, and it represents something Bhagavan they got from a temple. In a temple they offer the prasadam, you take it with respect. And if you are diabetic, you say, give me a small piece, please. You take it. So that is the prasada buddhi. So Ishvara Arpana buddhi, which makes you 100% focus on your work, and prasada buddhi, which makes you accept the result with equanimity. And before this verse 47, Bhagavan says to prepare Arjuna, he says in verse 38, treating alike pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and defeat, get ready for the fight. Then fighting you will not incur sin. So this whole Karma Yoga is only possible with the Samatva Yoga, Samatva Buddhi. What is Samatva Buddhi? Treating gain and loss alike. Not getting excited with gain, not getting depressed with a loss. So this attitude is so essential for everyone, especially in the 21st century, when we have many things out of our control. We just do only what is under our control. So if you learn the attitude of Samatvam, and Bhagavan says in verse 48, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. Samatvam is yoga. What is Karma Yoga? Samatvam. If you develop that attitude of acceptance of whatever happens, then you will never be. And so Bhagavan calls it the path of disinterested action. Means you have an ambition, you have a goal, but you are not interested in the fruit of that action or the result of that action. You say, I would like to have it. If it happens, great. If it happens better than what I expected, even greater. Why? If it is completely opposite to what I expected, that's okay. I can live with it. I will work harder next time. I'll put in my effort. I will never get discouraged. But I will continue to do my work because that is my duty. My nature will drive me to that. So that is what I will do. So this attitude, which he slowly prepares Arjuna, and he says, why these things that you treat gain and loss differently? Because of raga and dvesha. You have raga, you have desire for that success so much that it becomes a binding desire for you. That is raga. So you are upset if you don't get it. What is dvesha? You hate something. So, I hate failure. I never want to fail. You say that, then loss happens, you're depressed, you're gone for months a year, and you need treatment, therapy, and all that. So if you have the samatva buddhi that have controlled your raga and dvesha, learn to make everything preferences instead of a binding desire. Born, I've given you three things. I've given you Ichha Shakti to desire. I've given you Kriya Shakti to work towards fulfilling that desire. And I've given you Jnana Shakti, which means knowledge acquiring mind. I've given you all these three. You are born with these three. So use them, but don't let Ichha Shakti cloud your thinking so that your Jnana Shakti is gone and your karma, karma Shakti is gone. Because when you're binding desire, you don't do what you have to do the right way. Your mind is so focused on the binding desire. And if you don't get it, mind gets disturbed. And then Bhagwan explains later in Siddha Prajna description that it leads to so many other bad consequences. So this is from verse 38, which is reading aloud, alike pleasure and pain. And then it says, if you get obsessed with desire, then you get very, very limited result. You say, I have to do a lot of punya to get to heaven. What is heaven? It's a temporary location again. You finish your time there and come back. If you are completely free, get moksha means liberation. Means zero desire for anything else except reaching your creator. Become one with that creator. That Jivatma becomes one with Paramatma. It's just lost in the Paramatma. Then you can enjoy this life thoroughly and you don't have to go through another life, go through the whole cycle again. So he goes through and then gives a wonderful example. The Brahman, a Jnani, who has obtained enlightenment, has the same use for all the Vedas as one has for a small reservoir of water in a place flooded with water. You have water all around you, you want to go search a reservoir for water. Similarly, when a Jnani is fully satisfied within himself, is he going to go after any other desire? No. So these kinds of examples remind us that all the things that Veda Purva Bhaga says, do this to get this, do this to get this, all that you will go beyond it. And you will say, I don't have anything, I just have to do my duty, born of my svabhava, my own nature. That's called swadharma. When I do that swadharma with full interest, as an offering to Bhagwan, which was an offering to Bhagwan, it has to be the best. I do the best effort, then I do not worry about whatever result happens because I have the prasada buddhi. So, with that, then he says, far inferior is motivated action to buddhi yoga. Action performed with equality of mind. So take refuge in this buddhi yoga or karma yoga. So wretched are those who are craved for the fruits of action because their mind is constantly disturbed, anxious, that's wretched. So then in verse 52, 53, he said, when your mind confused by hearing conflicting statements will remain steadfast and firm in meditation on that God, you will then attain union with that God. So throughout the Gita, there are assurances like this from Bhagwan. If you set your mind to offering everything to me, accepting what I give you, and just have me as your goal. And what is Bhagwan? Bhagavan is Sarva Shaktiman, Sarvagya, knows everything. Don't you want to be like that? You want to be. So strive to achieve me, who represent the best of everything. Sarva Shakti, Sarva Jnana. So if you focus your mind and not get confused by all kinds of things, saying, oh, you do this, something you get, something you will get. Everything you get, it comes in time, goes in time. But this liberation of peace of mind always stays with you, 100% throughout. So then Arjuna asks a very interesting question in verse 54. He says, Krishna, what is the mark of a God-realized and soul who's of stable mind, established in perfect samadhi? How does the man of stable mind speak? How does he sit? How does he work? How does he walk? So this is a very interesting question from Arjuna, because he has heard this kind of things, what the benefits are. He says, okay, I do all this and finally get the jnana that you have told me in verses 11 to 13. Now, how should I be? How should such a person, what's that kind of model that I can follow? Who is the jnani? So Bhagavan says, again, in this fantastic, direct manner, in verse 55, when a man renounces all cravings of the mind and is satisfied in the self, by the self, then he is called stable of mind. This is a wonderful verse. Rajahati yada kaman sadvan partha manogatan atmanye atmanatushta sthita prajnasta dorchadya. That is the beauty of Bhagavan's teaching. He directly, you want a definition? Okay. This is the person who is satisfied within himself, who doesn't have cravings in the mind. What's the cravings? The mind and desire. And if he doesn't go after that, he's happy with himself. He does what he has to. What he gets, he accepts. Moves on in life. Always cheerful, always confident, always compassionate. So, that is the direct answer. Then he says, what are his characteristics? I'll describe further to you. His mind is not perturbed by adversity, who does not crave for happiness, who is free from fondness, means binding desire. Fear and anger is the only of constant wisdom. So Bhagavan is again telling us, get free. What is freedom? Freedom from longing, means abiding desire. Freedom from fear. Freedom from anger. These three things, if you don't have binding desire, you don't have anger. Because, you accept everything as they come. You're just a calm, happy, go-lucky person. So, you become a person who does not get angry, get upset. And there's nothing to lose. Bhagavan is giving me. Who is the person who's going to take it away? What I deserve, benefit from Bhagavan. So you don't fear anybody. You don't fear that, oh, I'm doing this sin, I'm doing that. Bhagavan is clearly said, if you don't work with this attitude of karma yoga, there is no sin. So only when you sin, your conscience pricks you and you're worried and you're concerned. So then he gives a fantastic example. So, yato samharte chayam kurmunarima sarvasha. Indriyani aktebhya tasya prajna pratishtita. So just like a tortoise withdraws its limbs when it sees an enemy attacking. It just goes into its shell, it becomes a hard shell. So any predator comes and says, what is this hard shell? I can't bite the thing. Leaves him alone. Similarly, if you can withdraw your senses from these sense objects all around you, means you are not running after the sense objects, then the sense objects will not disturb you. They will leave you alone. They say, hey, this person I can't influence. Any TV advertiser says, hey, this kind of person is useless audience for me. So, because he knows what he wants, he is not going after different sense objects I'm trying to market or advertise. So, this is the kind of person who can have a stable mind. So, this examples like this are really telling us how actually the method of doing it. Because the sense, we have 5 senses, very powerful senses, especially our tongue, which does 2 things. It wants craving for eating good things, and it says things that are hurtful, which are not needed. So control the tongue, control the eyes, control the ears, control the smell, taste. All these things if you control, these sense objects will not bother you, and it's easy to become stable of mind. And then he says, these sense objects cease to bother you, but a taste for them remains. So the mind still tries to take away because of that memory of, oh, that was such a nice thing. I want that. So, but once you sit in calm meditation, devoting oneself heart and soul to me, then even the small inclination to go after the sense objects goes away. And then his senses are completely mastered. So he already wants us that these senses are so powerful that they can draw you away even when you're trying very hard. So you have to be very watchful, and then whenever those temptations come, you have to get the strength from within. It's what he says, meditate on me. Means meditate on my teaching. What I told you, these sense objects are so powerful. Don't let them take you for a ride. So he just, drawing this strength from within, just Bhagwan's grace, then you can control these turbulent senses. And then verses 62, 63, 64 is so powerful. 62, 63 especially. The man dwelling on sense objects develops attachment for them. From attachment springs up desire. And from desire unfulfilled ensues anger. From anger arises delusion. From delusion, confusion of memory. From confusion of memory, loss of discrimination. From the loss of discrimination, he is no longer a man. He stops being a human being because he has the only faculty that distinguishes him from all other creation is his mind, which can discriminate between good and bad. If he loses that, then there is nothing more. He's gone. He perishes. He says, then a man of disciplined mind, although moving through sense objects, his senses under control, free from raga-dvesha, attains tranquility of mind. If we want tranquility of mind, the raga-dveshas are the stumbling blocks. You just have to work very, very carefully to control them. Make everything in life just a preference. Because you have a desire, don't make it binding. Make it a preference. If it happens, fine. Somebody says, I can give you this and that. You say, give me that. You say, oh, sorry, I don't have it. So, fine, that's okay. It's just a preference of mine. You can give me what you have. So like that, you become very adjustable and always a person who has got his senses completely under control. And this other, verse 67 is a wonderful other example. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano anuviliyate tadasya harate prajnam vayurnava nivamdasi. As the wind carries away a barge upon the waters, even so the wandering senses, the one to which the mind is attached, takes away his discrimination. We all know this example for a sailboat. We have no motor. Suddenly the wind comes, it takes you wherever the wind direction is, not your destination. Similarly, If your wandering senses get attached to something, the sense objects, it takes you away there. And then your discrimination is gone. What's right, what is wrong? Then you get into all kinds of trouble. You break the dharma very easily then. So, and verse 69 is a very, 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 very important verse. Swamiji spent a lot of time explaining this to us. Ya nisha sarva bhutana yasyam jagati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyatu mune. That which is night to all beings, in that state of divine knowledge and supreme bliss, the God realized yogi keeps awake. He's working towards this liberation. And that, the ever-changing, transient worldly happiness, in which all beings keep awake, is night to the seer. This is what Swami Paramatmananda, one of my teachers, says is a super waker. Even in the waking state, he knows what he's looking for, not sense objects. He knows, he is focused on knowing who he is or who she is. So, in the waking state, he uses his mind to gain knowledge and dwell in that knowledge. Once you gain knowledge, it can go away. Unless you dwell on it and make it your habit. So, during that waking state, when other things are just going after revelry and things like that, he is focused on his goal of inner liberation, of freedom. And that which is night to all, meaning that lack of sense pleasure, and all, they think, oh, this is nothing, I can go sleep. That time, that moment, he says, okay, it is very quiet, I can just sit down, use this to focus my mind. He doesn't want noise, revelry, things like that. A worldly person constantly is going after things, and his mind is constantly disturbed. Whereas the wise person, he just is so tranquil because waking or night, he doesn't get disturbed. He has his senses completely under his control. And his goal is 100% clear. That I want to know the source of ultimate happiness, which will not ever, ever disturb it. My peace of mind, my inner tranquility. So that is the difference between night and day, for the worldly person compared to the jnani. So this Swamiji explains to several examples. He spent a lot of pages of commentary on that. So the first reading is difficult to understand. Because night to all beings is day, day to day is night. Why can it that day is day to everybody? But during that day when sense objects are trying to grab you, he's not bothered. Because he has all his senses under control. And his goal is extremely clear. He's not running after these temporary things which come and go. He has the raga dvesha under complete control. And verse 70 is another very powerful one. Apuryamana vachana pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti yadvad tadvad kamaya yam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnumati na kamakami. As the waters of different rivers enter the ocean, which though full on all sides, remains undisturbed. Likewise, he in whom all desires merge themselves attains peace, not he who hankers after such desires. This is such a very obvious statement once we understand the practical meaning. If you keep on hankering after desires, there's no end. We know that. There's never an end to bigger and better and new technology coming and the latest phone came, which is 100 times better than this. But you are happy with your phone. It's certainly what your needs are. Why do you get hanker after that? So this is the kind of person who's all these advertisements, desires, and all can come in. He absorbance. I don't need them. What do I need? My needs are very simple. Some shelter, some food to keep the body and soul together, and some thing I do to keep myself active. And a person, a grahastha, after working and helping the family, serving the family, he can just do loka sangraha, means do welfare for others. So he is totally focused on helping his fellow human beings. So this is the kind of thing that happens. All desires can come in, but he's unaffected. He stays peaceful, knows what he has to do, and his inner tranquility is not disturbed. Just like an ocean, which receives all the waters, but never spills over. Especially in this rainy season, we see, the flood here, flood there, because small bodies of water, a river, overflows its banks. But Samudra, an ocean, can absorb all the waters coming in. Because from there only, the whole thing is arising. The psychological cycle comes from the ocean. It evaporates, comes as rain, and goes back. It's completing the cycle. So these examples throughout the Gita are so practical. So what do I want to become? An ocean. Just like a wave, when it's individual thinks, I'm an individual. But when it's a little bit more, what is this? I'm gone. I arose from the water and went back. So who am I? I'm just the water. I'm not an individual wave, big wave, small wave, nothing. This is another classic example of Vedanta, where you are no big human being, small. You're all parts of this God's creation. You do your part, and if you understand your part and do it well, your ego stays under control. And if your ego is under control, your mamakara, this is mine, that is mine. What is mine? Everything has been given to me. Right from my childhood, I came as a completely, dependent human being when I was born. Who took care of me? My parents and society had me. Everything was just said. Then what is mine? Nothing. I just got some things along the way, and I give it up. When I go back, I'm not going to take anything. So why do I get fret about this is mine, that is mine, and yet lose my peace of mind? Or why do I say, I accomplished this, I did, it's all Bhagwan given. Bhagwan puts the idea in your head. Bhagwan gives you the tools to get it done. Gives you the right team to get it done. So if you give credit to the team, you make them happy instead of your ahankara getting boosted. So this total discussion throughout chapter 2 is about how to control this raga dvesha, ahankara, mamkara. And then 71 and 72, he really concludes this chapter, hitting these points again. Vihaya kamam yat sarvan pumams charati nispruha nirmamo nirahankara sa shanti madhigacchati. Wow. Nirmama means nothing is mine. Nirahankara, I am nothing. I am just a soul. The body mind is just given to me by Bhagwan. So once he gets the nirmama and nirahankara, sa shanti madhigacchati, he gets complete peace. So he who abandons all desires, it's all binding desires, and acts free from longing, because longing takes the mind away, without attachment. Attachment again is a powerful tool that takes the mind away. Egoism, the attachment is the mamakara, ahankara, the mamakara, and egoism is the ahankara. He attains peace. So you abandon these binding desires. Anything that happens due to his will. All I am, I'm a tool in his hands. He has given me everything, the mind and all the resources, and I'm just doing my part in this entire creation. And then finally he ends that which we read today. Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Naina Prapya Vimukhyati Sthitvas Mantakanevi Brahma Nirvana Prachati. Such is the Brahmic state, O Partha, attaining which one ceases to be deluded. So all started with Arjuna's delusion, chapter 1. So it says, you cease to be deluded. Established in this state, even in the hour of death, one attains God realization. So Bhagwan has given you time throughout your life. Even the time of death, you think of Bhagwan and say, Bhagwan, what was I thinking of this Akara, Mahakara, all this? Everything is yours. I surrender to you. So the sooner we do it, the peaceful life we can live. And then at the time of death, you go away peacefully instead of having any anxiety. Oh, I'm leaving my family. What will happen to them? What will happen to this? What will happen to my best? All those things completely are out of your mind. But the sooner you gain this tranquility, the sooner you can die. You can live wonderfully this life and die peacefully. So this is the Brahmic state which we are all trying to attain, which Bhagwan has very, very, very wonderfully summarized chapter 2, and then chapter 3 to 18, he just elaborates, answers more of Arjuna's questions and removes all the doubts. Any questions? Any?
Rajanji, yes, it was very comprehensive summary. It's ironic and auspicious that in Tadatmananda course that I am taking, I think Ashish is too, we just finished chapter 2. And next week, I would like to hear from others before we start on chapter 3, what their thoughts or what they really learned from chapter 2, because it's full of knowledge and learning.
Also says Vichara class is for us to share our experiences in life, how it has helped us. Yeah. How in very, very tough situations in life, going back to the Gita as resource, has helped us cope with it easily without going through all kinds of perturbations in the mind. So all those kinds of things we share, then that'll help each other. Okay. Right. Let us do our concluding prayers. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnasya Purnamavadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha Hari Om